I was going through the internet. I was combing through the internet this morning, and I came across a pretty hilarious article, even with a pretty funny thumbnail. I don't know if we're going to be able to fit all of this into the picture, but you can see like Skip Bayless waving away, and it says FS1 isn't missing Skip Bayless as the facility matches Undisputed viewership. And I'm like, oh my Lord, this is going to be a hilarious article. So let's get into this article here. Earlier this year, Skip Bayless ended his 8-year run as host of FS1's flagship morning show, Undisputed. The longtime hot take artist had reportedly signed a 4-year extension worth $32 million with the network back in 2021, but was seemingly shown the door early this year. The troubles faced by Undisputed have been well documented, losing co-host Shannon Sharpe to his direct competitor First Take, taking a several-month hiatus, retooling the show with a rotating panel of guests, and continually drawing audiences of fewer than 100,000 viewers. The writing was on the wall, and FS1 needed a change. That change began in September to coincide with the start of football season. FS1 introduced 2 new shows to its morning show lineup. Breakfast Ball would air from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and the facility would take Undisputed's old time slot from 10 a.m. to noon. The days of FS1 trying to compete with ESPN's morning lineup are long gone, but perhaps freshening up the talent roster would make some incremental gains for the network. Through the facility's first 2 months on air, very little has changed from a viewership perspective. Per multiple sources, the show is drawing an average audience of 121,000 viewers, still far below its competitor on ESPN. But it has improved. But has it improved over Undisputed? Well, not yet. In fact, during the same period last year, Undisputed was averaging exactly 121,000 views. On Monday, the most watched day of the week for morning sports talk shows, Undisputed held a slight edge over the replacement, the facility. Last year, Undisputed averaged a Monday audience of 161,000 viewers through 8 weeks, while the facility is averaging 154% down for year over year. One could imagine Fox sees this as a success. Just 2 months in, the facility is attracting just as many viewers as Undisputed did in its 8th year. Additionally, Fox has been able to offload Bayless's hefty $8 million per year salary and replace it with the crew: Emmanuel Acho, Chris Daniel, James Jones is his name, and LaShawn McCoy. So far, the data reinforces many people's suspicions. FS1 could put just about any other program in Skip's all-time slot and see comparable returns. Towards the end of its run, the audience for Undisputed could dip as low as 50,000 viewers during football offseason, losing by nearly a factor of 10 to First Take. Clearly, decision makers at FS1 felt it was time for a change and opted to move on from an expensive investment that had run its course. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things. It's a pretty interesting article, right? Pretty interesting. It gave the view that, okay, they're not missing him, but the numbers are the same. But then it later on goes on to say that, but if you look at some of the viewership data towards the end, like in the off season, it was like 51,000. Look, the fact of the matter is this show is doing better than Undisputed. And the article stated, it gave a very good reason. It said, it's doing comparable numbers 8 years in to Undisputed when they had built all of that momentum with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. In the case of this show, it's only been out for a few months. So it's not like as if they're bringing in these big household names to the show to now do a new show. When they started Undisputed 8 years ago, you're talking about Skip Bayless, who one could make an argument was the face or one of the faces of ESPN, certainly the head honcho on ESPN First Take. You're bringing in a powerhouse name like that, and you're juxtaposing him with a Hall of Fame NFL player in Shannon Sharpe. So obviously there was going to be some type of boost, and viewership numbers were going to be pretty high. So for these guys to be already matching those numbers, more or less 4% down, I mean, with a few changes, a few storylines that come out, it could be dead even, and they're only doing this in a few months. It shows you that they may have figured something out in terms of, number one, chemistry within that amalgamation of talent that they have on that show, but also in terms of if we're looking at it from a business standpoint, where they were able to reduce costs because Skip Bayless had a lofty, as the article said, $8 million a salary. Well, if they're able to break that number down and pay multiple people what they were paying just one person, and then get the same amount of views, then the show could be more profitable.